I have been here. The Grey Goose, Adventures of a Modern Robin Hood.
Lieutenant after Dunkirk, awarded MC, distinguished conduct. Volunteered commandos, became captain, then DSO.
Oh, you were a big noise, weren't you?
Yes, but a sort of squib, a damp one. The noise ended in a fizz. That is what I'm going to tell you. The rest of my dossier reads, originally trained as engineer and inventor, expert designer of the Fletcher patent safe.
They seem to have got the cart before the horse.
Wait. Said Rolland Fletcher, entrusted with valuable security documents, sold out to the enemy.
No.
Shut up. Court-martialed, cashiered, dismissed his regiment.
My heavens, I don't believe it.
Let me finish. Death sentence passed, but reprieve granted later on account of previous distinguished service.
What a tragic story.
Not so tragic as it turned out. Stop pressing all that. The Rolland Fletcher case, here. Now read it. I've got it here. The War Office has to announce in re Rolland Fletcher that facts have recently come to light which seem to establish the fact that this officer was the dupe of others. Unfortunately, the chief witness in the case was reported missing, believed dead, in a certain raid carried out on enemy coastal defenses.
Is that all?
That is all.
And the man you saw today?
The chief witness, Captain George Anstey.
But he was never found, I take it, or they would surely have reopened your case.
No, he was never found officially, but I found him today and lost him.
Then we must look for him and force him into the open. Would you like to tell me how it all happened?
All right. Here goes. As commandos, we often sail across the Straits of Dover in the pitch darkness, got inshore, waded in quietly, and in very commando fashion, did in a few German sentries, blew up this and blew up that, grabbed a live Fritz or two, and dashed home again. Then came a day in our mess when I fell out with Anstey, himself a captain, and, strangely, a one-time employee of my father's firm. It was like this.
How's the DSO bearing up?
Oh, I can just about bear its weight.
Go on creeping around headquarters, Fletcher. You'll get a CMG.
Suppose, Anstey, you drink less pink gin. You might even be properly fit for the next operation.
Are you suggesting that I wasn't fit for the last one?
Yes, and if we hadn't had that swim, you'd have landed tight as a fiddle. Why, they call you pink gin in the mess, and even the other ranks talk about it.
Sir, you disgust me with the men.
Never, but I do wash my ears. Incidentally, Anstey, there's another op in a few days, and as your senior, I shall demand that you start sober.
Or else?
Or else the colonel will be asked to provide me and the troops with a more reliable 2IC.
Why, you... Yeah! Take a pink gin yourself.
Thank you. I take it that one is on you.
No, you fool, it's on you. All over you.
Shortly after this, I was sent for by the colonel, and having duly reported, was given the details or briefing of the next operation.
This, Fletcher, is not entirely a destructive or harassing raid.
No, sir?
No, it's much more. Having penetrated the first line of fortifications, you will personally go much deeper.
To where, sir?
Well, now look at this sketch. Here's the line. Beyond it, 500 yards, is a massive structure, used as an orderly room. It is to that point that you must make your way. Here, your own ingenuity must come into play. You'll provide yourself with a pocketbook, your own papers, photograph of a girl, say. Oh, in fact, all the bits and pieces an officer generally carries. And it must be authentic.
Yes, I know the idea.
Right. Now, here are 2 envelopes. One you will take with you, the other remains in this safe. Compare them.
I can see no difference, sir.
That's good. But there is a difference. Very faint, which only I can detect. Now, in yours is a detailed plan of a very large operation to take place on a certain date. It's phony, of course, but would read almost like this one, which contains the correct details and a different date for the genuine action. Right. Into the safe it goes. You will contrive to leave your envelope in a fairly grubby state in that orderly room, dropped with your pocketbook. You must arrange to have it snatched from you, or perhaps in a scrap with the sentry, during which you come off worse.
Oh. Sounds very comfy, sir, if I may say so.
Well, you've got your envelope, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Well, that'll set the beehive buzzing a little out of place, and a little out of time, too. Well, good luck, my boy.
Thank you, sir. I hope I'll be seeing you.
I hope so. Anstey will, of course, with his men, cover your escape by a bit of a noisy demonstration. That'll be in orders, as usual. And 3 hours after sunset tomorrow, you'll put off. Oh, by the way, is Anstey reliable these days? Doesn't always strike me as being quite fit.
Oh, he's fit enough.
Why don't you continue?
I may as well. Well, here's how it went.
Time to go, Fletcher.
I know, Anstey. You keep some action going. Handing over to you. Get a Fritz or two if you can.
Where are you going?
That's my business. When you get away, detail one boat to wait 15 minutes for me. Then inshallah for England home and beauty. Got it?
I said, where are you going?
I've told you. Now get a move on, Anstey. And if you do get home before me, have a pink gin. You'll deserve it.
I'll get home, never fear. If I can get a pink gin, I'll drink to your departed spirit.
Well, apparently all was going well, and I started on my lone sortie to that orderly room. 500 yards looked like so many miles. However, I made it, and, of course, ran into the sentry. We naturally had a set to, and after putting up a certain amount of resistance, I fell down dead.
Rolland.
Oh, don't take me literally. The sentry, damaged and all as he was, suddenly envisaged dreams of iron crosses by the ton, and, as was expected, searched my dead body for papers, identity discs, and anything he could find, which, of course, was plenty. Scurrying to his commander, he left my dead body where it was.
But you...
Not being dead, although a bit battered and torn, I, by devious means, reached the coast, and sure enough, Anstey had detailed an MTB to wait. I somehow got there, and off we went. Where's Captain Anstey? Is he in one of the other boats?
No, Fletcher. Sorry we had to leave him. He's missing. Missed all boats. Last seen herring for the beach, but apparently was shot down.
Didn't make it, eh? Well, bad luck. 2 days afterwards, Barbara, the colonel sent for me. And I can tell you that the interview that followed will never, never leave my mind.
Fletcher, I hardly know what to do with you.
Do with me, sir?
Yes, you. I entrusted you with a very confidential document. Only it's true, but a very important one in view of the main operation.
Yes, sir. You did, and I delivered it, sir. Much to my cost.
Good heavens, man, don't you know? Well, of course you know. The real operation was a complete thrust.
What, sir?
A failure, which cost us hundreds of lives.
But, sir,
Keep your protest, Fletcher, for the court-martial.
But, sir...
You're under close arrest as a traitor.
And so we glean a little of the background of Rolland Fletcher, the modern Robin Hood, alias the Grey Goose.
I have been here.
The Grey Goose, Adventures of a Modern Robin Hood. They led forth in ignominy.
Rolling.
Then, Barbara, the most junior subaltern of all, a lad of 18 years, steps forward. As he does so, the drums begin to roll. He removes the cap from my head and stamps it into the dust. Then, taking up knife or scissors, he cuts off my regimental buttons and badges of rank. Then, my decorations are sliced off my tunic. and I stand, as it were, naked, ashamed, an outcast. Then comes the voice of the adjutant.
Parade dismissed!
And I'm alone at last, bereft, broken, a man at whom the finger of scorn implacably points.
And you went through all that?
I did, but there was more to come.
It's not possible.
I would not have thought so, but I was wrong. There was greater humiliation in store. We were then in billets in Norfolk.
Yes.
My brother officers, my friends, erstwhile, staged a farewell party, a final humiliation. Seizing me, they eventually succeeded in tarring and feathering me, their old skipper.
Man's inhumanity to man.
True. And, Barbara, the billets were in Norfolk, as I said. The time of the year was Michaelmas, and the feathers were goose feathers.
Now I know. Rolly, I'll never again try and persuade you away from that feather conceit of yours. But tell me, how did the switch of papers occur?
I have my suspicions, of course. Anstey overheard my conversation with the colonel, and he, knowing the safe combination, could do it, and later, at a favourable moment, transfer the real plan to my pocket and subtract the phony one.
I think you must find Captain Anstey.
Yes, and now I know he's not missing believed dead, I'm going to try.
At the same time, you've been exonerated.
Exonerated? Yes, in a way. People have climbed down a bit. Friends at the War Office did a little gossiping in my behalf. But I'll never rest now I know that Anstey's alive. Barbara, I'm on the hunt again. This time it's Operation Anstey. Well, where have you been for the last week?
Exploring.
How do you do, Mr. Livingston? How are the tigers down your way?
There are none, but I think I've found a snake.
A snake?
Yes, your snake.
Mine?
Yes, by name, Anstey.
Good heavens, Barbara, what are you talking about?
Listen, do you think I could hear that story of yours unmoved?
Oh, for heaven's sake, I regret every word I...
Don't, because it set me off on the chase. Do you or don't you want to find Anstey?
It's the ambition of my life, now I know he's alive.
Well, I found him. I've met that train at White City every night for a week.
Barbara!
Yes, and your tall, thin man with black moustache has alighted every time.
I can't believe it.
Well, it's true. And tonight, I managed to get alongside him.
Go on, Winch, go on.
He picked me up.
Oh, I see.
You don't see at all. He's mine.
You can have him.
Don't you want him?
Look, we are being silly.
Of course we are. At any rate, I made a date with him, dining tomorrow. How'd you like that?
As much as I like brimstone and treacle. But, Barbara, you've been a damn fine scout. By Jove, I'm grateful.
I shall keep my appointment, Rolly. The rest is up to you.
You know, Barbara, you're the only one who's ever heard my story. Except, of course, those officials connected with it. I'm glad... No, I'm grateful, I told you. Somehow your lead to Anstey will give me all I want.
Then I string Anstey along?
Of course. By the way, what does he call himself these days?
Oh, nothing that I think matters, except it's a foreign name.
Have you looked in his letterbox?
No, I haven't had a chance yet. However, I meet Mr. So-and-so tomorrow night for dinner at 7 p.m.
Where?
Or a little place called Ganino's in Soho. Know it?
I think so. You mind if I join you?
Of course not.
I mean, not at your table, of course. Just in the offing, as it were. If your friend is my enemy, I'll then have something to go on.
I hope you won't be rash and create a scene.
How can you? Do I ever create a scene?
I have heard of some.
I shall endeavour to avoid disgracing you. At any rate, expect me at Ganino's tomorrow night. You won't, of course, have to recognize your disreputable associate. My dear, get him, if possible, a little tight. I think I find it easier to work on my victims when they're a little lit up.
I'll see what I can do.
At any rate, I'll attend and see if it's the same man.
Monsieur is finished?
Yes, but bring me some coffee.
But yes, café for monsieur.
Waiter, would you know that gentleman in the far corner?
The telephone. Oh, but yes, monsieur. He is a gentleman who most frequently comes to Ganinos. One Monsieur Kiralfi from, I think, Hungary, Yugoslavia, you know? You know him, perhaps?
No. No, but I thought I knew the lady he has with him.
Very charming indeed, monsieur. But to me, she is quite a stranger. The first time I see her is... Excuse, please. I go for the cafe for monsieur.
Yes, it's Anstey, all right. Couldn't forget him. But why Kiralfi? Middle Europe. Rolly, my lad. Something stinks a little, I think.
Cafe for monsieur. Voici.
Ah, thanks.
I see Monsieur Kiralfi and the lady prepared to go.
Thanks.
If monsieur will excuse...
Coming this way. Wonder if Barbara's got anything for me. Mustn't let him recognize me, though.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm afraid my fur swept your coffee cup off the table as I passed.
Oh, no harm at all. It's quite all right.
9 Fairley Terrace off Notting Hill Road. Follow.
Are you ready, Miss Faversham?
Yes. I'm afraid I rather inconvenienced that gentleman with my clumsiness.
9 Fairley Terrace. Wonder why Barbara's going with him. Don't suppose for a moment she's interested in his etchings. Well, this is where I take a hint and follow. Just stroll upstairs and have a look. My heavens, I can't imagine Anstey back in London. Not dead after all these years. Captain George Anstey, now Kiralfi, I'm going to have some speech with you. Whew, what a dump. The gallant captain can't be doing too well. Wonder what Barbara thinks of this place. I think I'll take a peek through the keyhole. This must be his door. Yes, name and all, Kiralfi. Well, here goes.
I wasn't expecting to be forced to come here, Mr. Kiralfi.
Of course, but since you appear to get in my way, lady...
Exactly what do you mean by that? I thought you were a gentleman.
I flatter myself I am, but you see, I couldn't help noticing how you consistently caught that tube train and hardly ever took your eyes off me. I was at first flattered that so charming a girl should give me that encouragement.
I'm completely in the dark as to your meaning.
Nonsense. I then found you most willing to accept a dinner appointment. Then, being modest in my estimation of my own attraction, I began to suspect.
You're being very stupid.
Why are you so anxious to make my acquaintance? Answer!
Gee whiz, he's onto something. Good heavens, I want some help here. Oh, no keys. Where? Oh, good luck. Here's a hall telephone. Hello, Charlie? Yes, quick. Get over to 9 Fairley Terrace, Notting Hill Road, 3rd floor. Make it quick. Bring keys. You know. Charlie, make it terribly quick.
Listen to the development of this exciting chapter in the life of Rolland Fletcher, alias the Grey Goose.
I have been here.
The Grey Goose, Adventures of a Modern Robin Hood.
Catching sight of an old acquaintance, reported missing, presumably dead years before, brought the bitterness of my own army disgrace vividly before me. This man alive could have saved me at my court-martial. Barbara, on being told my story, apparently took it upon herself to try and find this man, and succeeded. She arranged to dine with him at Ganino's and give me the opportunity of seeing him. Sure enough, it was Captain Anstey of my old commando unit. I followed Barbara and Anstey to a rather disreputable-looking flat, and with my ear to the keyhole, suddenly realized Barbara was in danger. There was a telephone in the passage, and I sent out an SOS to Charlie Austin to get round and help me negotiate the lock on the door.
Sorry, Mr. X. Door's bolted on t'other side. Here, look. I'll nip up that staircase and see if there's a skylight or a trap.
Do. I'll stay on guard here. I don't think my friend in there will try anything very drastic yet.
Righto. Back in a sec.
Better have another look-see.
Great Scott. What's Anstey saying now?
You called out just now, Miss Faversham. Please don't waste your breath. Voices raised in this neighbourhood attract little attention.
Please allow me to go, Mr. Coralfi. I'm afraid you've not quite fulfilled the gentlemanly attributes I rather fancied you possessed. Kindly open that door.
Certainly not. You'll answer my questions, or you will soon discover I have means to make you.
Why do you think I have some ulterior motive in getting to know you?
Because girls like you do not behave so blatantly.
Thank you. But you never know, do you?
Please get to the point and stick to it. I am a man who prefers to know exactly who my acquaintances are.
You're afraid of new and unknown ones. What have you to hide?
Skylight, Mr. Hicks. Come in. See the old room from there? Good. There you are. Another man there too, see? Beyond the light. Splendid view, Charlie. Wonder who the other man is. Could we raise the skylight a bit? Can't get a word up here. Easy.
Let's have no more beating about the bush. I insist on knowing your interest in me and my affairs. Now listen, if you remain obstinate, I'm afraid I'll have to ask my friend to exercise a rather skillful technique he has to make you speak. He's been most successful in concentration camps in certain parts of Europe.
I suppose that's where you met him. In certain parts of Europe.
What do you mean? What do you know?
What do you fear that I might know?
Confound you, I was right. You got alongside me for a sinister purpose. You're a spy.
I warned you, my friend, that to spend time with a woman was dangerous in our game.
Shut up, Imre.
Then I'm to presume you're afraid of spies, Mr. Coralfi. Without being one myself, I think I can recognize a traitor and a foreign agent when I see one.
Damn you!
And a coward.
Let's storm it. Can't let him hit her again. Oh, confound it, we let the skylight fall down. Shooting. Nothing else for it now, Charlie. Jump! Got you, mister. What's your name? Got yours, Charlie?
All sealed up and ready to post, Mr. Hicks.
You?
Yes, me, Fletcher. Well, Anstey or Coralfi or whatever you call yourself, how's life behind the Iron Curtain?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Strangely enough, I do. I've learned so much in a few years, but I've learned more in the last few minutes. I say, have you forgotten your old commando days and all the training you and I had in unarmed combat?
You took me by surprise.
And wasn't that the very first lesson? Barbara, take a seat and be as comfortable as you can in this booby hatch.
Right, I will. I see there's a drink on the sideboard. Shall I pour one?
Do, and get one for Charlie Austin. Charlie, you keep an eye on our beauties while I look round this very undesirable residence.
Rightio.
Funny how these subversive jokers haunt dirty premises, just like those nasty things that live under stones. A safe. Dear Mr. Coralfi, to save trouble, keys, please?
Not on your life.
Right. We'll make it on your life. Charlie, put a little pressure on the jugular vein, eh?
Oh, enjoy doing it, Mr. Hicks.
Don't watch this, Barbara, although it's nothing to what you would have had to put up with. Here's a crossword and a pencil. Amuse yourself. Raise your hand, Anstey, when you've had enough.
Hands going up now, Mr. Hicks.
Good. Now, Anstey, the keys.
Here.
Thank you. Why didn't you have a decent safe? You ought to know one when you see it. A Fletcher. This old thing could be opened with a tin opener.
And why didn't you use one?
I rather fancied the jugular vein idea for more reasons than one. Maybe you'll hesitate to punch the next lady you meet, if any.
I'll get you hanged for this. What's it all about?
Once you nearly got me shot. That's what it's all about. Now shut up while I read some of your private correspondence. Minutes of meeting. Plant. Oh, good, very good. Final arrangements. Dock strike. Instructions to Agent Fedor Kiralfi. Oh, good Lord, you sound a very busy man. Well, that's what I wanted. And now, Anstey, Captain Anstey, late British Army, 2nd Commando Unit. We shall talk.
I shall say nothing.
Charlie?
Yes, Mr. Hex.
You can still find that jugular vein?
Oh, in a brace of shakes.
No, I'll talk. A little.
You'll talk fast, as much as I want you to. And as they say in the States, that'll be plenty.
What do you want to know?
Well, I'm not sure yet. You see, I've learned so much that maybe all you'll have to say is yes and no. Firstly, you were snooping round the orderly room that night when the Colonel gave me the phony plan.
I was not snooping. I just happened to pass and overheard the conversation.
And being already a traitor, you picked my pocket that night, substituted the real plan, and returned the phony one to the safe. Easy for you, pre-war on our expert staff.
You took the knot.
That's right. The enemy were pre-warned, apparently by me. Hundreds of our fellows were massacred. I was court-martialed, almost shot, and eventually dismissed from the army. Yes, it was some years before I managed to hold my head up again.
Well, you're not dead. What's all the heat about?
I've known for some years it was you, Anstey, but it's only now that I've proved it.
How?
These papers. Your Middle European name, Fedor Kiralfi. Because you were reported missing, believed dead, I couldn't get at you. Oh, no. You were safely behind the Iron Curtain in some dirty hole and corner state. As I said just now, crawling round under a stone.
Well, what do you propose to do?
Oh, it's practically done, my dear spy. You've come to England on behalf of your dirty state as an agent with intent to disrupt certain British organizations. Yes?
No.
Charlie, sorry to trouble you.
All right, damn you. What do I care about Britain? I've seen the other side of the picture, and I tell you this. Britain is on the way out.
Oh, pity we are not in Hyde Park. The brothers would love to hear you say a thing like that. This missing believed dead business, how has that worked?
Well, you may as well know.
I mean to. Never fear.
Well, I did go over with the Red. When we reached the objective, they opened fire. I fell.
You, like a soldier, fell. Mortally wounded, I suppose.
Corporal Simons thought I was badly hit and stopped to help me. But I advised him to go back with the others.
Stout fellow, Simons. He was the sort who would have dragged you back to safety. Pity he didn't. What happened then?
I moved forward.
Moved? Crawled, you mean? Worm?
For heaven's sake, Fletcher, give a man a chance.
And what chance did you give me, making me play your dirty game unwittingly? Go on. How was it you weren't shot when your dear friends found you?
I had a code word.
Beautiful. Everything worked out to the last degree. I suppose Mr. Hitler and company gave you a great big iron cross and kissed you on both cheeks.
What are you going to do with me?
Nothing at all. Your papers, of course, will be forwarded to our security office. Your confession will be taken by me to the War Office, and I shall be exonerated completely at last.
I haven't written a confession.
No? Barbara, how's the crossword puzzle?
I've got every word down in shorthand.
You can't do that. It's illegal. My God, you've tricked me.
As you tricked me, Anstey. Miss Faversham is going away now, and that whole conversation will be typed out, and at our convenience, signed and sworn to by you, witnessed by my friend Charlie Austin, Barbara herself, and your friend, Thingamy.
I won't sign it.
Oh, but you will. By the way, Barbara, you'll delete the jugular vein, of course.
Does that mean I can have another go at the swine?
Not yet, Charlie. We may have a little persuading to do later in the matter of signature, but we'll leave that till we have the complete typescript. Now, Charlie, we'll have to be a little more resourceful and add to the bonds of our hosts. You start on your pal.
What do you intend to do with me after I've signed?
Set you free.
What?
Yes, Anstey. I don't propose to hand you over to the authorities here. They'd shove you up against a wall in the tower and shoot you. Personally, I hate to think of even your bones in the same country as I live in.
Where am I going?
My dear fellow, this will rock you. Rock you completely, I'm sure. Now listen. You're going home tomorrow evening. Yes, home. You're being given the opportunity of crawling back under your nasty pet little stone. Well, Charlie, I think we've done a good job. Now, the next thing is to gag them. There, that's right. Oh, by the way, I discovered a beautiful Mauser pistol on our friend. I think he fired it at the skylight earlier. Take it, Charlie, and if either of them even cough, plug them. Barbara and I are taking the papers and going to do a little typing. Well, cheerio. We shan't be long, boys.
And so, with his enemies completely at his mercy, Rolland Fletcher works towards removing the stain on his army record. How will this affect his other activities as the Grey Goose?
I have been here.
The Grey Goose, Adventures of a Modern Robin Hood.
I had now collected all the facts that, in my possession, amounted to my complete exoneration from the charge of traitor to my country, a shadow under which I'd lived for years, and which was the chief incentive which made me a freelance rogue with a grudge against all who in my misfortune had snubbed me. Incidentally, I had also collected the real traitor, one Captain George Anstey, whom I now discovered was an agent for a foreign state. Run to earth as he was, I left him and his foreign helpmate under the guard of Charlie Austin, my real little friend.
Well, Rowley, I've typed Anstey's confession, or rather a verbatim transcription of his admissions when threatened by you.
Good. Now we proceed to take this document back to that flat or den of his for his signature.
Suppose he won't sign.
Oh, he will, or I hand him over to our security boys, who will skin him alive. Firstly, however, I'm going to look up a bloke at the Foreign Office who has to do something about something.
I do wish I could follow that tortuous mind of yours. You've got something very intriguing worked out as to the fate of Anstey, I'm certain.
I definitely have.
You're not going to kill him, or get someone to kill him, are you?
Haven't I promised to return him?
Alive?
Definitely alive. And possibly kicking. Come now, drive me down to the Foreign Office where I can look up an old pal. Look, Bertie, you must oblige me in this respect.
You're asking almost the impossible, Fletcher.
I am not. Nothing is impossible to the Foreign Office, including their very obvious tactics at times.
Do try and be civil, old man.
Good. I'll try and be as civil as one of your civil servants, and that will not be difficult.
You'd better hop it before I stab you. Now, let's stop all this and see where we get off, shall we? State your case again.
Right. I have plans, instructions, names, locations, etc., of one of the biggest subversive organizations now operating in this country. Your security boys would give their ears to lay hands on them.
They definitely would.
They shall have them at my price.
I could have you arrested and get them for nothing. Now hand them over.
No, and if you miss out on this, Hambledon, headquarters will pin your ears back.
I can't give you what you want. It's a fantastic demand.
Then you won't get these documents.
Have you a sample of what you have to sell?
But yes, just a little bit off the corner. Here, take a look at this.
How the devil did you lay hands on this, Fletcher?
How, when, and where are, up to now, my business. However, you've just seen 10%. I have 90% more in exchange for that little letter of accreditation I've asked for.
When do I get the rest?
Within 12 hours, delivered by my own fair hand, giving you and your minions 14 clear days to save what might prove a national upheaval. Come on, Hambledon. This is life and death for all of us.
Right, I'll do it. But if you've sold me a pup, God help you.
Hambledon, you have already seen the confession that puts me in the clear at last.
I didn't have to, Fletcher. I always was convinced there was some dirty work somewhere.
Thanks. Well, knowing what you do, thinking what you did, can you see me letting you down or selling you a pup?
No. Righto, you get your letter.
Yes, Mr. Hambledon?
Come in and take a letter, please.
Yes, sir.
Lord knows I'm banking an awful lot on you, Fletcher. If this got into the wrong hands, I don't know what harm it might do.
It's going to do a lot of harm, Hambledon, to one man who deserves it.
Yes, sir.
Now, please do not take this down in shorthand. Straight onto your typewriter.
Yes, sir.
And no carbon copy. Official heading paper. To Her Britannic Majesty's ambassadors, consuls, vice consuls, and representatives. You got that?
Yes, sir.
This letter will serve to introduce the officer bearing it. He is to receive your advice and help, where required, in the mission he has undertaken on behalf of Her Majesty's government. The mission is dangerous, and there will be times when he may need urgent assistance. Leave the letter, please. I will add the officer's name myself and sign it. You may go. Well, there we are. And stay. Got in off his stamp. All complete, Fletcher. And pray earnestly with me that nothing goes so wrong that we won't be alive to hear of it. This devil Anstey might take it to any of our men and work his own way with it, with our accredited ambassadors to back him up.
Be of good cheer, old son. He won't take it to any British representative ever.
But
you should be like one of the 4 famous monkeys.
4? Only 3 I know of. Hear nothing, see nothing, say nothing.
Add another one to your group. Forget everything. Just invented by myself. Cheerio, man, you've been marvellous.
You won't be your last monkey, will you?
The papers? Tomorrow as ever was.
Why can't I have them now?
Why? Oh, because, my dear Hambledon, you might repent and cancel that letter just 12 hours too soon for me. And that would be just too bad. Oh, by the way, the order for a plane.
By Jove, don't you ever forget anything?
The answer is no, when lives, reputations, and such like trifles are at stake. Come on, Hambledon, the order must have a plane.
It's part of the bargain, I suppose. But if anything goes wrong, I shall chuck myself in the Thames.
As a matter of fact, old man, the documents I'm going to let you have in 12 hours will result in your becoming the white-haired boy of the grey-haired Foreign Office.
Well, here you are, Fletcher. Order for secret plane, pilot, and all the trimmings. Now get to blazes out of my sight.
Look here, Fletcher, this is kidnapping.
Kidnapping, Anstey? Be your age. You're no kid.
You've got us aboard this plane by force. Where are we going? You promised me freedom if I gave you the information you require.
I'm keeping my promise. Very shortly we shall arrive at one of those places for which you've exchanged your loyalty to the country of your birth.
And then?
I have promised, so shut up. Hello. What's on?
Bit of engine trouble, sounds like, Mr. Hicks.
Nothing very much, I think. I'll just go forward and have a word with the pilot. You watch out for our passengers, Charlie.
You leave him to me.
Look here. Austin, isn't it?
Austin it is. So what?
What's the game? Why are Imrie and myself forced to take this journey?
Search me. But didn't Mr. Hex promise to take you home? I shouldn't worry if I were you. You'll get home all right.
Not if this plane is in trouble. Listen to that engine.
Do sound sort of a hiccuping a little.
Just seen the pilot, chaps. Nothing to worry about. But he does suggest we put our parachutes on in case of trouble.
Parachutes? Good heavens, I've never jumped in my life.
Probably no need to. But we better be prepared. Actually, there's nothing to it.
I refuse.
I do. Shut up, you, and keep still while addressing your pretties. Now, come on.
You too, Anstey. Come along.
No, you.
Yes, come along. Keep still and don't wriggle.
That's good.
That's right, it. Now, to get me on. You too, Charlie.
Okay, Mr. Hicks.
There's nothing to it. And I don't think there need be any panic. Somehow, Charlie, I don't think we'll be needing them. But just to be on the safe side. And see, you and Imrie, hitch your swivels onto that bar.
I refuse.
Don't be a darned idiot. If you had to jump, your parachute would automatically open without your doing a thing. Ah, that's good. Much better than having to pull the drawstring yourself. Now, judging by my watch, we should be very near your spiritual home, Anstey. I'll just consult the pilot. Incidentally, the plane is behaving very well again.
Then we can take these darn things off, I suppose.
No, I shouldn't advise you to. Oh, by the way, Anstey, here are your shoes. Sorry to have kept them from you for so long, but you were so very savage I was afraid of being kicked to death. Here, put them on.
Thank you. I wish they'd been football boots.
All right. Stand by. Shan't be a minute. Going to see our pilot now.
Look here. You, Austin.
Talking to me?
That engine seems to be all right now, don't you think?
Yeah. Don't reckon I'll have to jump on this trip.
Austin's right, Anstey. He's not going to jump, but you are.
What?
The plane never had anything wrong with it. You and your friend Imrie are now enlisted in the parachuters.
Good heavens, I can't, I daren't, I won't.
You will. Hear me, you dirty. You jump, and now. Charlie, slide open that hatch.
I won't jump, I won't. Never. Mercy, Fletcher!
Mercy,
Shut
mercy.
up, you yellow bellies. Ready, Charlie?
Almost.
Push him along, Charlie.
But you promised you would free me when you got all you wanted out of me.
My dear fellow, you are free. There's the world at your feet, and the particular bit you sold out for. Go on. It's all yours, and the freedom they and you talk so much about. Come on, Imri, you first. Just to show your saffron-coloured boss how to do it.
Shall I give him a shove off? No, not one here. Go!
There you are, Anstey. Even your very unwashed friend has left you.
Spare me, Fletcher. I daren't jump.
A little help, Charlie.
Okay. Here goes.
I daren't.
Sorry, too late to help. I hope his parachute opens.
Do you think it will?
Oh, yes, and he'll land right among his friends as I promised. Are you there, Tom?
Yes.
Right, home, Tom, and don't spare the propellers.
And so, Rolly, you've removed every blot.
Yes, and I've received back my rank and decorations and a total exoneration from the War Office.
I'm glad. Just before we close the chapter, why did you let Anstey escape?
Escape? Did you say escape?
Well, you parachuted him into a state friendly to him, didn't you? Or did you arrange that the parachute wouldn't open?
I could swear the parachute did open, and with a little bruising maybe, he'll land among friends.
Then I don't understand. Where's your revenge gone to?
I see I've got to explain. Even Charlie Austin is sitting there goggle-eyed. Well, this is the way of it. Charlie and I sneaked his shoes. Within the inner sole, I inserted a certain letter.
Cripes.
When he lands, he'll be searched from head to foot. How do you think his friends are going to react when they come across that letter which reads, "To Her Britannic Majesty's ambassadors, consuls, vice-consuls, and representatives, etc. Your advice and help were required in the mission he has undertaken on behalf of Her Majesty's government."
He'll be shot by his own pals.
I rather fear so.
Mr. Hex, I lifts me lid to you.
With his own immediate problem solved at last, Rolland Fletcher has yet others, including those of Barbara Faversham, to deal with. So it appears there are more adventures in store for the Grey Goose.
I have been here.
The Grey Goose, Adventures of a Modern Robin Hood.
My reinstation with the War Office, the return of my decorations and my rank were all very pleasing. But there were still those who, at the time, had thought the worst of me. Against these, therefore, I still maintained my vendetta, and thus, as the Grey Goose, I still carried on. This campaign was, of course, in line with Barbara Faversham's crusade, one which I'd sworn to help to a successful conclusion. It was some time after the events I shall now tell you that I learned all that had transpired. Of course, I was not present at a very momentous meeting at Scotland Yard between the superintendent and Inspector Ben Ford, at one time my schoolmate.
Grey Goose again, Super?
Again. Still. Yes, still is the word, Ford. Goose feathers, goose feathers, goose feathers all over the place.
Yes, I know.
You apparently don't know the latest, though.
What's that?
Anonymous letters.
From the Grey Goose?
No. From an enemy of the Grey Goose.
Oh, but you surely can't place any credence on anonymous letters.
This is going to rock you, Ford. You are apparently a go-getter, a rogue, a disloyal policeman, a friend, listen to this, an interested friend of the Grey Goose himself.
Why?
How do you like that?
I don't like it. Now listen, Super. This is either a very bad joke, or there's something deeper. But so far, I can't put a finger on.
Listen. Letter number 1, addressed here. In the matter of the Grey Goose, why is he not apprehended? I suspect Ebenezer Ford has many friends in the social world. Why does he not act on one of them? It is there he'll find his Grey Goose.
Well, I'm
Lost for words, eh? Look, Ford, I know you for a good policeman, but here are a dozen other letters all suggesting you are stalling on account of a friend.
What an utter lie.
Of course it is. But the commissioner is getting concerned. He's being prodded. And I suppose he's got to take a little notice of higher up. Ford, you're in a spot.
Yes, I realize that. And of course the main idea is bring in the Grey Goose.
Exactly. Friend or foe.
But who is the Grey Goose? Sometimes he's been helpful to us, ergo friend. At other times he's proved himself a rogue, ergo again foe. As for these documents, I'm accused of knowing him, helping him, shutting my eyes to his many depredations. In short, being an accessory.
Now, don't boil over, Ford. We all know that these attacks on you are the work of some crank. They attack you, accusing you of a sort of complacence, even suggesting you have something to gain from the Grey Goose.
I see that. But it's an aspect too contemptible to give any consideration to. Have those letters been gone over by test department?
Of course. Fingerprints, nil. Ink, ordinary. Paper, unknown make, available anywhere. Writing?
Yes?
By elimination, that of a woman.
Oh, well, that's better.
Better? How?
Well, it does halve the possibilities, doesn't it?
So you think you can eliminate the male, do you?
If our experts are right, I do think so. In fact, I'm going to track down, if I can, 1, a woman who doesn't like the Grey Goose, and 2, a woman who is also very much in favour of Inspector Ford being rapped on the knuckles, if not sacked.
Well, go ahead. And for heaven's sake, bring me a Grey Goose. Or, failing that, a woman with a poison pen.
Poison pen, eh? By George, that is something to work on. Super, give me one, any one of the letters.
Take your pick, Ford.
Any one will do. I want it chemically tested.
That has been done. I've already told you.
Yes, I know, but I require more exhaustive tests. Perfume?
Done, mostly. There was some suggestion of opium.
Texture?
Done.
All right, but there must be other peculiarities somewhere.
There are no peculiarities.
All right. Maybe it's the paper itself has none, but, well, maybe the place it was bought. The place in which it was written upon. Those are points in which I may find peculiarities.
Well, I honestly hope you can get a line on that. Because before we know where we are, the press is going to get onto this, and then the balloon will go up.
The press? Why, for heaven's sake, Super, haven't you seen tonight's paper? The press have already got it. And do I get a roasting?
Rowley, have you seen the latest Grey Goose bulletin?
What do you mean?
Apparently the astute Inspector Ford is, in the doghouse.
I didn't know he was married. However, what has he been doing?
Nothing, apparently, according to report. Listen to this. Why has Scotland Yard failed to lay hands on the Grey Goose?
Echo answers? Why?
Let me read the rest. We are informed from a reliable source that an anonymous correspondent has recently bombarded Scotland Yard with letters, each in turn suggesting that, 1, Inspector Ford himself is the Grey Goose.
Good heavens! Poor old Ben. Oh, confound it. I can't let him take a knock like this. Now, let me think. Firstly, we must find the anonymous correspondent. Difficult, I suppose.
Very uncertain. Rowley, you've got to help him.
Of course. Wait, I know one step I can take. Come on, I want to use a telephone at once. Never mind your hat.
There's a telephone here.
No fear. Calls can be traced. Into the lift.
Oh, I haven't even a hat, and no makeup to speak of.
Never mind that. And as for makeup, we won't speak of it, except in very hushed tones. Now, here we are. Out, wench. Thank heavens there's a public telephone just on the corner. That paper was the Clarion?
Yes. They seem to feature the Grey Goose on every occasion they can.
Right. Got some pennies?
Oh, you didn't give me time to get my bag.
Never mind. I can make these things work. Now, just you watch this.
Good heavens. How did you manage that?
I just put 2 pennies in like everyone else.
Oh.
Simple, my dear Faversham. Hello.
The Clarion? Good. A news editor, please. Oh, is that you again? Well, this is the Grey Goose here. What do I want? I'm making a demand. Don't interrupt. Kindly refrain from attacking Inspector Ford. Yes, refrain, I said. Or if that word is too hard for you, stop. The Grey Goose is a one-man concern and has no branches nor collaborators whatsoever. Shut up and listen. Your dirty publication of anonymous letters attacking the said inspector might result in getting him seconded and put off his investigations in re myself. Well, I'm telling you this. If he is supplanted, there's no one else even likely to shoot down the Grey Goose. And look here, just before I go, if you're not very careful, the Grey Goose might do a bit of hissing round the premises of your dirty Clarion. And how will you like that? Shut up!
Let's put the desk in a furor. Come on, Barbara. We can't be seen here. They might find out which call box. Walk, and smartly at that.
You know, Rolly, I could hardly help not bursting out laughing. You must have annoyed him terribly.
One of these days, I'll annoy him to some purpose. I think the Clarion could do with some investigations. It's a dirty rag at any time.
Do you know, Rolly, that it was one of the Clarion's investigators, financial reporters I think they call them, that first uncovered those alleged frauds by my father. It was the Clarion that hounded him into the courts.
Is that so? Well, in that case, the Clarion can expect a Grey Goose feather in the near future. Who's the lady who's just left the door?
Haven't seen her before. Probably visiting here, I suppose. Seems in a great hurry.
Hello. That's funny. The door's not locked.
Oh. Well, we did come out in a bit of a hurry, if you remember.
Yes, that's true. Confound it, I've never done such a thing before. They're darn careless of me. Good heavens! What's happened?
Oh, what a complete mess. Rolly, your flat's wrecked. I wonder how it could have happened.
This flat has been turned inside out. Searched, and very thoroughly, too.
Rolly, your feathers.
My hat! No, it's all safe. I defy anyone to find them, but I was a bit scared for a moment.
Anything taken?
Not that I can see. No, apparently nothing. Look, £5 in this drawer. Thieves would never have overlooked that. Dash it, it's a bit disturbing.
It is. But if someone who was not a thief ransacked your rooms, what were they after? Do you know, I'm worried you may have been a bit careless at some time.
It isn't possible. No, darn it, it's not possible.
Do I smell a peculiar odour?
By Jove, yes. A sort of Eastern, eh?
That's it. Chinese or Indian.
Chinese it is. Yes, and unless I'm very much mistaken, that's been left by someone who's been near opium. Oof. Open the windows, for heaven's sake.
And your visitor's Chinese, you think?
Well, hard to say. Don't even know if it was a man or a woman.
I do.
What?
It was a woman.
How do you know?
You don't wear sequins, do you?
What are you getting at?
These on the carpet. I haven't a sequin frock or ornament in my possession. Rolly, you've had a lady visitor, probably while we were out a while ago.
That woman in a hurry, leaving the entrance as we came in. She was in an evening frock. Her dress did flash, as I remember. Great Scott, what the devil's going on? Quick, the warning buzzer. Someone coming along the passage. Don't make a sound. If it's someone honest, they'll ring again. If it's otherwise, they'll probably start messing about with the lock.
Honest, I think.
Right. I'll open the door. My hat! The police!
Police!
Come in, Ben.
Thank you, Fletcher. Good evening, Miss Feversham. Great Scott, don't tell me you're leaving.
No, I think I've been moved. Matter of fact, Ben, we've had a visitor who's practically wrecked the joint. I suppose it wouldn't have been your Grey Goose by any chance?
Grey Goose? Oh, for heaven's sake, Fletcher, don't rag. I've had it.
Yes. I've seen the papers earlier. My hat, the Clarion's been after you, hasn't it? I saw the 3 o'clock edition.
3 o'clock? You haven't seen tonight's special edition, I suppose. Look at it. The streamer. Grey Goose comes to defensive inspector. Subtitle, bears out Clarion's claim. Inspector friendly with Grey Goose.
It seems that with the best of intentions, Rolland Fletcher has complicated Inspector Ford's situation. However, we know that further action will be taken by...
I have been here.
The Grey Goose, Adventures of a Modern Robin Hood.
I was rather sorry to see my friend Inspector Ford pilloried in the press by that disgrace to the honourable profession of journalism, the Clarion. So I telephoned the news editor from a call box and told him in no uncertain terms that I, the Grey Goose, resented the imputation that Ford's failure to catch me was due to collaboration. After this, I returned to my flat, only to find it had been ransacked. Fortunately, my store of feathers had not been discovered, and nothing of value had been taken. Just as Barbara had come to the conclusion it was a woman, Inspector Ford turned up, and thus I learned that my phone call to the Clarion had been misunderstood.
But that's terrible, Ford. Worse than terrible. It appears that the Grey Blighter phoned the Clarion and defended me in a way. Thus, the beastly extra edition came out with its screaming headlines, Grey Goose comes to defensive inspector, etc., etc.
Oh, dash it. I'm sorry. Your friend, the Grey Goose.
Confound it, he's not my friend.
Oh, sorry. Although, mind you, he tried to be.
Tried to be, yes, in a very roundabout way. Heaven spare us from our friends.
Well, now, sit down, if you can find somewhere in this confusion, and have a drink.
Thank you.
And what brings you along to this abode of ruin and desolation?
It is a mess, isn't it? As a matter of fact, Fletcher, I just went off duty, craved a drink, and hoped you were in.
Only too glad to see you, Ben. Any time.
You know, this Grey Goose chap's getting us at the yard baffled a bit, but I think we'll get him before long now.
Is that so?
Yes. He apparently has an enemy.
What are you going on?
Those anonymous letters connecting me with him, accusing me of friendship with him.
That sounds to me more as if you had an enemy.
True. But to my mind, the letters have two objects. The Grey Goose and myself. At any rate, that's how I see it. Oh, by the way, I have one of the letters here. Like to see it?
By Jove, I would.
You want?
Been tested? Chemically, I mean.
Oh, yes. Fingerprint nil, texture ordinary. Oh, the whole works. As a matter of fact, there's a little trace of oriental perfume about the paper.
What? Barbara, what are you doing with that spray?
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm being stung to death by mosquitoes.
Well, I hadn't noticed. By Jove, yes. Thanks, Barbara. Go on, Ben. You were saying the letter had a little trace of Chinese perfume.
Well, our chap seemed to think whatever it was, it had a slight opium base.
Possibly. Fred, I can't smell it.
Now, how could you, just after I've sprayed the room?
Oh, let me take it over to the fresh air by the window. Yes, by Jove. Smells a little of Chinatown, Ben.
Yes, but where does that get me? Chinese don't write anonymous letters to Scotland Yard. At least I've never heard of such a phenomenon.
No, they're far too subtle for that. No, Ben, I'm afraid I'm a bit at sea, too. What do you propose to do, if it's not a rude answer?
Well, actually, I shall investigate the Chinese angle. I can't afford to neglect it. Oh, well. Thanks for the drink. I'll be on my way.
Right-ho, Ben. See you again, I hope. Pop in, any time.
Good night. Good night, Miss Babington.
Good night, Inspector.
Barbara, I could hug you.
Oh, is that a threat or a promise?
It's an achieved feat.
Really? Why the demonstration?
The flit spray. A stroke of genius, my girl. Sheer genius.
I can't see that killing beastly mosquitoes was a stroke of genius.
Then...
I was being bitten to death by the brutes.
Come here, woman, and get yourself unhugged.
What is all this?
I'll tell you, my poor, dumb, but terribly useful friend. That letter of Ford's had the same celestial scent as our visitor left behind in our flat.
Oh, I'm beginning to see.
Yes, dear Ben hadn't noticed our smell so far because he was carrying that letter in his pocket. But his was quite faint, really, while the flat reeked to high heaven with the identical odour.
Oh, really?
And at the crucial moment, heaven sent us some mosquitoes, and you bearing a flit spray.
I see now. My word, he would have been curious. Put two and two together in no time.
Yes, and made 4 cents. That's a joke, and it's over. Right now. Now, would you care to dine with me tomorrow night à la chinoise? That's French for Chinese food.
Surely.
Eh?
That's Chinese for yes, with pleasure, I think.
Oh, thank you for seeing me in your private office, Mr. Foyen.
It is of much pleasure, Mr. Fletcher. The note you sent me has been received, and you ask a most difficult thing.
Oh, I realize that.
But out of friendship for your honourable but departed father, I have accomplished something.
Good.
There are in Chinatown 40 of the places you ask about, where one may indulge in the pipe that brings peace and visions of paradise.
40? Oh, good heavens,
Be not impatient, my young friend. I have much influence, many helpers, all of whom made search for the lady you mentioned.
And they've succeeded?
Patience again, please. You asked me to find a lady who was, you say, at one of those places yesterday, and who was, shall we say, recovered enough to be in the West End at dusk last night?
That's right. Outside my flat.
So, on that occasion she was wearing very smart gown, bespangled?
Sequins. Copper-coloured.
Sequins. Maybe. Yes, such a woman goes to a place I know of daily, and she left somewhere about the hour of 7 in the evening. Where she went, we do not know. She was not followed.
Well, I'm glad of that. Where is this place, and what's her name?
No names are spoken, please. What you require is written down here.
Thank you, Foyen.
One piece more I give you. The woman is the proprietor.
What? Impossible.
Not impossible. She is as I have said.
Thank you, Foyen, 1,000 times. I shall see that you...
You shall do nothing for me, my friend, except forget, if you please.
But...
If you please.
I understand. And thank you again.
Please, the paper. We destroy it now. So.
Excuse me, then. I'll go and join the lady in your most excellent restaurant.
Good night and good appetite.
You finished, Barbara?
Glad you're back. Yes, I've had a terrific meal. Have you had any luck?
My hat, yes. Old Foyen must have an underground like the African jungle. Fancy, a sequin frock was the only clue I had to give him, plus a scent of opium, and after inquiries at 40 joss houses we find her. Yes, a lady in a sequin frock left a certain address in this neighbourhood just on dusk last night.
You know the address?
Of course I do. I'm going to his place any moment from now.
Being interested in any unknown female who visits your flat, I'm coming too.
You can't, Barbara. This might prove a little dangerous.
Rubbish, I'm coming. Haven't I got umpteen pistols packed round my waist?
Well, I wouldn't know. Girls wear such curious things nowadays. Well, all right, proceed, pistol-packing mama. Now, watch your step. This place is full of muscle men. It's probably overlooked by the police, but is all the more dangerous. There is, of course, a small restaurant attached as a blind.
It's a complete honeycomb of bunks in this part.
That's right, and the occupants thereof are all under the influence of opium. Quick, someone coming. Flop down in that empty bunk. You're done in, dreaming of the umpteenth celestial heaven.
Right.
Whew.
Gentlemen wanty?
Yes, sir, that's the idea, fellow. Gentlemen wanty.
It's very good in here. No inhabitant.
Good. You know, whenever I feel like a pipe, I don't like company.
Very, very true. Me fetch a pipe quick and no time.
Listen, Barbara.
Go ahead. I can hear you.
Take your pipe. Don't inhale it, but just go off, as it were, and dream your best idea of some boyfriend. Got it?
Yes, I've got it. Cad.
Me? I'm going to dream of Sonia Heaney and skating.
Skating?
Yes, very thin ice. Soon I shall be exploring. You stay put, see?
I see, but I may not necessarily stay put. I've got to keep an eye on you. If I remember rightly, you're on the trail of the sequin lady, the proprietress of this joint. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right. But you're much more useful in your opium-inspired celestial heaven than dogging my footsteps. If I do spot trouble, I'll yell.
Good. But if the woman is what I take her to be, she won't yell.
Barbara, there's a streak of what have you in your makeup that worries me at times. Well, here goes. I'm off to find Madame Butterfly, or rather, Madame of the Sequins. By the way, do you smell anything?
Yes, exactly like your flat, isn't it? Opium.
That's it. Like my flat, after our visit had been. Well, be seeing you when you come out of your swoon. God bless my soul, what a dump. Now, where does the fair proprietress hang out? These passages are a maze.
To left, gentlemen.
You darned idiot, Barbara. I left you below.
And I decided you'd want help. Sorry to scare you, but I'm here to stay.
Confound it, Barbara, go back. This is dangerous stuff. I don't know where it'll lead.
I'm not that worried. I'd rather be up here with you than back there with my throat cut. I'll yell the place down if you don't let me come.
Remind me very soon to put you across my knee and spank you, will you?
I'll do that very thing. Now where?
You know where. Eh? I get you. Onward and shut up. Watch out. Someone at the end of the passage. A guard, I think.
Then we must be near the lair of the spider.
That's it. Now here's where you can help, idiot. I've got to get that man up very quietly.
I could squeal fire or murder.
Rubbish. They think you were still in your opium blackout and dreaming of Confucius or some such big noise. Listen, Barbara. When I say go, just cough. The guard will be startled, I hope. Then leave it to me. Got it?
Yes.
All right. Now, if you ever had slugs in your family, start creeping now. Now. Cough.
Master, who are...
Lie still, gentle soul.
Have you killed him?
Not a bit of it. He'll talk in 1 minute. Come on. Get up, you. Get up. Name. Quickly, quickly.
Hi. Sing high.
All right, sing high, sing low. Knock on door. Quick or... Savvy.
Me savvy plenty quick.
Sing high.
So...
You wish to speak?
Very wish to speak. High one.
Come.
Good evening, madam. Barbara, let me present the sequin lady. Now, put that light out.
And so our modern Robin Hood goes another step onward in this adventure. Listen again to the development of his quest in search of an anonymous letter writer when next we present The Grey Goose.
I have been here.
The Grey Goose, Adventures of a Modern Robin Hood.
My friend Inspector Ford was being pilloried for not running down the Grey Goose. Anonymous letters were being distributed wholesale, and the Clarion, a poor rag of a paper, was helping to crucify the inspector. One of the letters was shown me by Ford, and its aroma was very much of the Chinese variety, so I envisaged a Chinatown origin. Incidentally, my own flat had been ransacked by someone, and the identical aroma predominated. Barbara and I, on discovering some sequins on the carpet, decided our visitor was a woman we had encountered earlier at the street door, dressed in a sequin-covered frock. Thus, I hied me to Chinatown, and through an old friend, discovered the owner of the frock. As a matter of fact, we practically bearded her in her den.
Sing Hai, how come you let these people here?
Lady, I am forced by man very strong. He choked me.
All right, now get out. We shall have more to say later. Meantime, silence.
I go.
Now for a little light on the subject.
No, don't touch that switch, please. I like the dark.
Well, I don't, and so...
No!
Oh!
You will excuse me hurting you like that, but I do not wish you to see me and my friend Therefore, we will talk in the dark.
Oh, very well, then. Tell me, who are you?
Hold your breath, lady. I am the Grey Goose.
What?
You heard. I'm terribly sorry I haven't brought a theme song or a signature tune with me, but I assure you, you have the honour, one amongst few, of meeting the feathered friend himself. Give me your hand. There.
A feather?
Yes, a Grey Goose feather. Now, my friend and I, having adjusted our masks, a little light may be permitted.
I should prefer it.
Excellent. Ah, there we are. Much more sociable, too. Barbara, I'm sure you'll join me in felicitating our hostess on her charming frock. Sequins, mark you.
What has my frock to do with this intrusion?
Well, and what do you think of that, Barbara? Intrusion, eh?
I think we should ask this madam what she means by intrusion.
The point is well taken. You, Barbara, have of course noted the aroma of this den, place.
It stinks to high heaven.
If you've quite done with your insults, please answer my question. What is the meaning of this intrusion?
Right back to where we started. Very well. It appears, madam, you did the Grey Goose the honour of calling upon him last evening. Or shall I say, you made an intrusion of his premises.
I did not.
That's a lie. He discovered these sequins on his floor. Copper-coloured ones, madam. You always wear sequins, and your premises, yourself, smell of the odour of opium. The Grey Goose's flat, I regret to say, is also redolent of the scent of the persuasive poppy extract.
Oh, what the...
Come now. You were in search of evidence that you had discovered the lair of the Grey Goose, weren't you? You turned the flat, my flat, upside down to find a cache of goose feathers, but failed, didn't you?
I'm not answering that.
I'm sorry, that makes me continue, and it also makes me guilty of monopolizing the conversation. Why, madam, are you so anxious to lay the Grey Goose by the heels?
I shall not answer that question. Here's that.
Yes?
That buzzer brings two of my boys here at once. You should have checked up on my means of communication, Mr. Grey Goose. Idiot.
Barbara, the light's out. Then behind the door as it opens. Quick. Good evening. Good night. So much for the interruption. Or should I say, intrusion, madam. And in case you put your foot again on that buzzer, I'd prefer you to move over this way a bit. Barbara, the lights. Thanks. Now I think we'll gag and bind these two. Here, that bit of blind cord will do. A piece for you. You tie that one and I'll tie this. That's it. Now for my question again. Why are you so anxious to find and expose the Grey Goose? There's a reward of £2,000, isn't there?
Oh, yes.
£2,000. I can give myself up and claim it. I wonder why I don't.
There may be other reasons.
I'm beginning to think so, madam. And it is for those other reasons, or that other reason, that I wish you to answer my question.
I refuse.
Do you realize the danger you're in?
What danger?
You have now met the Grey Goose as such, certainly with mask. But you do know where he lives. Do you know his name?
Of course I do.
That would be in the flat directory, of course.
Yes.
Then you must, of course, see the stupidity of your curiosity. The danger. The Grey Goose cannot possibly allow you to live with the knowledge that you possess.
You can't possibly kill her.
Quiet, Barbara. I can't kill her. But the Grey Goose may have other ideas.
For heaven's sake, give me a chance. I swear I won't let it go any further.
You swear? On what? You, the keeper of a low opium den?
Look,
Listen. You may get yourself out of this, but I wish to know where you got the lead that took you to my flat. Come on, woman, speak.
I heard rumours of Inspector Ford's neglecting his duties.
Go on.
So I traced as many of his friends as I could.
Go on, darn it.
And I discovered he was very friendly with an old schoolmate.
So you entered his old schoolmate's flat to find his friend and thus discover, or thought you might discover, the Grey Goose.
Yes.
Madam, there's a little truth in what you say, but there's a darn large proportion of lying too. You see, I know something also.
What?
This. Here on your desk. Don't snatch. Another anonymous letter. Just ready for the post.
Give that to me.
Not so. Barbara, smell it.
The same.
Madam, you're an idiot. Scotland Yard has a dozen letters from your poison pen. They all smell of opium. Why?
You tell me.
Because they were all written here in this room. A room that reeks of the nefarious trade you practice. An opium den. Now, may I remind you that the whole truth is your only salvation, if any?
What do you want from me?
I want to know the name of your accomplice.
Accomplice? I have none.
Don't trouble to lie anymore. I know you have. As a matter of fact, I think I've spoken to the gentleman. Mind you, I only think so.
Then I suggest that you just go on thinking.
That's exactly what I shall do, madam. And now, if you'll excuse us, we'll be going. Oh, no. No buzzers, please. And bear this in mind. One whisper from you to the police as to the whereabouts of the Grey Goose, and I hate to state the consequences. Now, the buzzer, madam. There now, it's broken. That will stop any communication from this room to your staff.
Idiot! I could just walk out of here once you've gone.
But we haven't gone yet. There's still so much to do. Ah, thank you. A letter to the Clarion, eh? And a copy of your next anonymous letter to Scotland Yard. So you and the Clarion work together.
Give me that!
Quiet. Dear Sim, here is the next. Dear Simpson Redding, the news editor. Night desk and all that.
That reporter I mentioned, Rowley?
The same. Promoted probably for his energy in getting your father thrown into jail.
The very man.
Where does he come into this? Quick, out of my way, Ron. No, I'm going to look at those papers on your desk. Get away, I tell you. And do not yell.
I shall be strangled.
Sorry to appear to stifle a woman. Barbara, those stamps, get them.
Here.
Lick them, quick. Good. That's right. Now, paste them over her mouth. Go on, the whole lot. Good. Now I can get a look-see uninterrupted.
What is it you found?
Plenty. Look. Receipts for goods supplied, signed by our friend Simpson Redding. Good Lord, he's the owner or partner in this joint.
The news editor of the Clarion?
As plain as the nose on your face. My hat, what a turn-up. Don't you see? To all intents and purposes, this joker at the Clarion is a smuggler and purveyor of narcotics. A fine thing.
Can it be true?
True. Here's a massive evidence. Our sequin lady is only a stooge. In the ordinary case, should a police raid take place, she would park all this stuff and take the knock herself. A big fine, but very little else to it.
So, what now?
Yes, now what? And where does my connection come in? And why the defamation of Inspector Ford? And the insinuations that he's lenient in his search for the Grey Goose?
I have it. It's a side issue entirely. Something to keep the police off the trail of this place.
You think?
This is it. This Simpson Redding thinks to run the Grey Goose down. This woman has almost succeeded. Triumph for the Clarion man? Such a public benefactor couldn't be an opium dealer or run a den.
You've got it. All right, hold it while I ring Ben Ford.
Inspector Ford, please.
This is Ford. Who's that?
Your friend, Inspector, the Grey Goose.
Oh, confound you. All right, what is it this time?
I'm just inquiring whether your narcotics squad would be interested in a real up-to-date, perfectly run opium den and a central distribution organization.
Well, of course they would. I'll get Inspector Kane on the job at once. That's his line of country, not mine.
Just a moment, Inspector Ford. Did I or did I not tell you it was the Grey Goose talking?
Yes, of course. Yes, you did.
So, although you're not generally concerned with narcotics, this might be an occasion when you might trespass on Inspector Kane's territory.
It might. Yes, under the circumstances, it might.
Good. Then in 2 hours' time, I shall ring you again.
But listen now.
Sorry, good night for now.
2 hours' time, Rowley? Why?
I've just thought of something terribly urgent.
What?
We made a search of my flat for something that might be missing.
And there was nothing missing.
True, but we forgot to look for something that might have been planted.
We never thought of it.
We did not. My hat, these people are clever. What if some of these little billets-doux were planted on me? The police raid this place on a tip-off, and a clue here leads them direct to my place, direct to the Grey Goose and the boss of an opium smuggling gang.
First, we have to search here for that tip-off.
Exactly. And then we have to hare along to my place and search for anything that sort of matches.
Then off we go.
No, I've a better idea. Madam, she'll be allowed to speak.
She won't speak, she'll scream.
Look here, madam. You know a good deal when you hear one. It's not too comfortable for me, but I'm willing to call off the bloodhounds from your little opium racket if you'll forget the address of a certain Grey Goose. Nod your head if your answer's yes. No? You really mean no?
What are we to do?
Wait, Barbara. The answer is really no, madam?
She's definite, Rolly.
Listen, madam. Your silence is necessary as to your knowledge of the address of the Grey Goose. No again? I warn you that the Grey Goose can't allow you to live long enough to impart that knowledge.
Surely the Grey Goose is not going to take measures for silencing this woman contrary to his boast of no killing. Be sure to listen to the next adventure of the Grey Goose.
I have been here.
The Grey Goose. Adventures of a Modern Robin Hood.
In the Chinese restaurant Harbin, Barbara and I uncovered a clearinghouse for narcotics, opium in particular. We also found bills and receipts that pointed to the true owner, one Simpson Redding, news editor of the Clarion. He was indefatigable in his pursuit of the Grey Goose and the baiting of Inspector Ford. His representative, whom I call Madam, had visited my flat, and now she was aware at any rate of my address. This didn't suit me at all. The Grey Goose was cooked, it appeared. I mean this, madam. You can't go on living with that knowledge. In a moment, I shall remove those stamps from your lips, and then I shall make you speak.
Rolly.
Look further among those papers, Barbara. There must be some clue among them that led her to me. She said she gradually eliminated all Ford's friends.
There's another locked drawer here. Oh, can't open it.
Now, let me have a go. Now.
Rolly, here it is. A list of names as long as your arm.
Let's see. Abraham, Beecham, Belaine, Burke. It's alphabetical. The F's now. Farley, Farmer, Fletcher. Well, I'm jiggered. There it is with my address. Right. Madam, when you searched Fletcher's flat, you were looking for feathers. Nod, please. You were? Good. You were not certain, not more certain of this man than any others? Shake your head if no. No? That's good. I made a slip, Barbara, when I accused her of searching my flat. Accent on the my. All right. We'll now go back to my place and see if Madam has told the truth, if she was only guessing. If anything is planted there that leads to me, I'll have to think something up. All right, Madam. We're going for a ride.
But we can't go through the restaurant with her mouth covered in stamps.
True. Perhaps Madam has a back way. Aha! She nods. Rather too eagerly, I think.
Then what?
The old piano wire. Round my waist as usual. Never know when it'll come in useful. Here you are. Hitch the swivel round your waist. You go first out the window. Now off you go. I'll let you down lightly, then unhitch the swivel, and I'll pull the wire back and send Madam down to you. You'll be ready to receive her, but do not free the swivel.
Right. Here I go. Right.
Madam, it is now your turn. Allow me to fasten this swivel. Sorry, no struggling. Oh, I do appreciate the indignity of hanging in the air, but I assure you it is over very quickly. You'll land on your toes, but not an inch further. Now, off you go. Bundle coming down, Barbara. Don't undo the swivel. She may bolt. Wait till I arrive. Coming now when I fix this end to the doorknob.
Standing by.
Watch out below. Right. Now to untie Madam. Good. Now to release my precious wire. And then, Madam, we pay my flat another visit. With those stamps removed, we can now talk. I trust this second visit to my apartment doesn't inconvenience you?
It does. And I want to know what you think you're going to do with me.
I agree. You've got me puzzled there.
I know too much, don't I?
You certainly do. And somehow you've got to be silenced forever. Doesn't sound too nice, does it?
Does not. Look, you apparently have found out all about my trade in the cafe and my connection with Simpson Redding of the Clarion. I know the Grey Goose and this address. Can we make a bargain? Silence from you, silence from us.
Does Redding know of me in this address?
No. Oh, yes, of course he does.
I heard you the first time. You were just a bit slow on your reflexes. Now, it's just you and me, right?
Yes. And now for the bargain.
You being no lady, I excuse myself. I won't bargain for my head with your sort.
What do you...
Shut up. There can be no bargain. You deal in a filthy trade. The supply of narcotics to poor wretches so low and miserable that they're incapable of recognizing its fearful menace. Barbara?
Yes?
Found nothing?
Not a thing. I'm certain she planted nothing on her previous visit.
That's one point in your favour, and only one, madam. Beyond that, I can't say a word in your favour. The Grey Goose may be a rogue, but he's not a reptile. So, Barbara, we'll return our friend to where she belongs.
The car's ready.
Good. Now, madam, I regret that once more we shall have to seal your mouth. Go on, Barbara. Take this time while I hold this viper, which I shall continue to do while you drive.
How do we get in now we're here? We can't trail Madam through the cafe.
True, but I can get in by climbing up. Just hitch Madam's hands so to the iron railing with a little of my wire. There. So. When I'm in, I'll drop the wire down for you. Fasten the swivel round her waist, right?
Can you possibly lift that weight?
Oh, easily. I just turn myself round and round, and behold, Madam will arrive at the windowsill. It's only one story. All right, hold your horses while I do my Excelsior act. Here's your end coming down now. Hitch on the body.
Coming up in the lift.
Here you are, madam. Don't kick, or you may fall 10 or 12 feet. That's it. Safe landing, eh? And oblige me by keeping perfectly still while I pass this line out again. Sorry to have to hold you so tight. Put it down to my Don Juanish impulses. Coming, Barbara?
Yes. I've got it round my waist.
Good. Now, madam, as I rotate slowly, I wind the wire back around my waist. Holding you as I am, it will bind us together closer than in holy matrimony.
I'm here, Rolly.
Scramble in, and then unwind us, will you?
With pleasure. It's rather nauseating to have to witness you embracing this dope peddler.
Yes, I agree. Now, we'll just adjust our masks, and then we can have a little light on the subject. Do you think you could act a little Chinese, Barbara?
I can act anything.
Good. Imagine you're one of those Chinese girls downstairs in the cafe, the one on the till. Ring up the Clarion, get Simpson Redding on the phone, and tell him Madam is in great trouble in her room, and he must come over immediately. There's the phone over there. Now, for you, madam. Your hands are firmly wired together, but please seat yourself in that chair.
Who's editor, please?
Behind the desk.
Mr. Redding?
Thank you.
Please come to the Chinese restaurant?
Shortly, if you behave as I wish you to, I shall remove that very objectionable tape from your mouth.
Yes.
Nod your head if you concur.
Chinese cafe.
Finished, Barbara?
Yes. Apparently he's hot-footing it round here. Wanted to know what the blazes Zelly had been up to.
Zelly, eh?
Yes, and he'd skin her alive if she's let things get out of hand.
That's good. It should take him 5 minutes in a taxi. Now, you slip downstairs and order a couple of chow mein prawns or anything like that.
Oh, but I'm not hungry.
Nevertheless, you will eat. Ostentatiously, of course. Gollop up a good portion of each. We may require that chow mein before long. What's left of it. Now hop it and stick to that chow mein prawn and stick to your table whatever happens. I'll join you as soon as the balloon goes up. We must be prepared to look like customers. And you, Madam Zelly, eh? Be very careful what you say when or if I remove that tape. For the moment, however, I must postpone the removal. I see a little sheaf of papers here which I require. Thank you. Now I wish to do a little telephoning myself. Is that you, Ford?
Yes, who... Oh, it's it's you again.
Yes, indeed, but I promised to phone you back, didn't I?
Yes, you did. I'm getting very fed up with your phone calls. Now, what was this business about a dope-clearing house? Inspector Kane sitting alongside of me, itching to go.
Very good, my friend. Well, here's what I promised you. I believe you and your friend are very keen on Chinese food.
Oh, for heaven's sake,
Come up to Harbin Cafe, Greek Street now. You'll find everything to your liking. Good night. That the signal? Nod your head. Good. I'll open the door.
What on earth have you been up to, Zaley? Here, what's this? Who are you?
I am Belaine Redding.
Belaine, why do you come here? Good heavens, what's Zaley done to her mouth?
She's done nothing. I did that. I'm afraid I've had to be a little ungallant. You see, she's been talking, and for me, that's dangerous.
And why that mask?
You've only had dealings with Belaine, but we never met, and I didn't intend that we ever should. You idiot, have ruined everything. Look at these names. Belaine among them. Yours also. Here an account for services rendered. Here another. I managed to retrieve these from the flat of a perfect stranger. You idiot, we're all in it. Through this woman of yours. That's why I came round to investigate the situation.
I'll skin her if she's done this. Put my pot on, has she? Well, she's not going to live to mention my name.
Put that gun down, you idiot. We may get a way out of this if the police haven't tumbled to it yet. Yes, and you and me.
The police, did you? A raid. So the police aren't onto us. I said you wouldn't leave Zaley to land me with the police, and you won't. You won't talk again, see?
Good heavens. Out, me.
Hey, what's all this? Believe!
Now to sneak down, if possible, to that Chow Ming.
This is very terrible, Rolly. That poor woman. She's dead, they say.
Yes, and Redding goes up for murder. Inspector Ford's pal Kane gets a big bag of dope peddlers and opium runners, and I...
You? What do you get?
A very sick heart, Barbara. I caused that woman's death. I confessed, been very perturbed at her knowing where the Grey Goose lived. I slipped up there, of course, but I was optimist enough to think that I could find another way out. No, I shan't have to. She's dead for her terrible sins against society. But I shall always be sorry. Always. Well, what charity do you think would like that £700 that we found in her desk drawer?
Intriguing, exciting at all times, the adventures of Rolland Fletcher, the Grey Goose.
I have been here.
The Grey Goose, adventures of a modern Robin Hood.
The episode of the Chinese cafe cum opium den left me rather sad. True, I'd put Scotland Yard onto a narcotic clean-up, but in doing so, I'd caused a woman to be shot to death. Admittedly, she was a dealer in narcotics, and as low as they make 'em. But she knew me and where I lived. Thus, I still remain the undiscovered Grey Goose. The next incident in my life was strangely arranged by fate. I went down to an old farmhouse just near the coast of Norfolk, old man Norman's farm. Here I thought to rest and relax and forget that, virtually, Rolland Fletcher was a wanted man. 6 a.m. Nothing to do, nobody to see, and a lovely summer morning. Yes, a lovely day, I think. Great heavens! Cows, dogs, hens, and the saints forbid, geese, Norfolk geese, grey geese.
I've got a cup of tea and some breakfast for ye, master.
Thank you, come in.
Thank ye, sir.
Put the tray down there. That's a good girl.
Lovely morn, sir, it being.
That's right. Lovely morn it being, as you said.
And begging your pardon, sir, Father Norman to be wanting to pay you a visit. Come, you finish your breakfast.
Miss,
Tilda.
Well, Tilda, inform my old friend Father Norman that there's no need to wait. Ask him to step up straight away.
'Tis good, I'll tell him.
Oh, take my shoes away, will you, and give them a bit of a polish?
Certain it is, sir.
This is good. Delicious. Come in. Why, good morning, Father Norman. You've arranged a grand day for the reception of a truly worn-out citizen of London?
'Tis a grand morning, Mr. Fletcher, and 'tis glad I am. But...
No buts, please. I'm going to finish this excellent fodder, then get out onto your pastures, and, if you've the time to teach me, learn a little about being a farmer's boy. I say, what's wrong?
There's little time to teach ye now, sir.
Why, what's amiss, Mr. Norman? You look terribly worried.
Mr. Fletcher, you booked for to come and stay with an old family friend for a month.
By Jove, yes, I might stay longer.
I'm afeard not. Come over to your window for a minute.
All right. Every stick and stone out by 11. Hear me?
Yes, by 11.
Every stick. Remember, the sale's at 11 prompt. Now get about it. Get busy.
What the devil is all that about?
I'll tell ye. I'm being sold up at 8 hours' notice. That's the end of 20 years of hard work on this farm. But when you arranged to come down, I thought I could weather the storm, or I shouldn't have let you come, do you see? But last night, as ever was, Ardcastle, the bailiff, comes along and demands his dues or a sell out of this house. So, Mr. Fletcher, you can't now have your holiday at Norman's farm because they're back to Norman's farm.
Tell me some more.
Oh, ain't much to tell. I owe Malcolm Gregory, that's the big owner round here, £1,500. The farm is worth 5,000, and I could make it 10,000, only there ain't the time to do it in. So without warning, he sells me out.
There's more to it than that, surely. What's to stop you selling out and paying him his 1,500?
I can't do it. I got a lease which forbids me selling without his permission. Else I could do what you say.
Isn't there any alternative?
Oh, yeah. He's got a no-good lout of a son, Hal Gregory. He wants my girl, who'll have none of him.
I see. Well, look here. I'll fix myself up at the local, so don't let that worry you. But tell me, how does this daughter of yours regard the proposal of Hal as her husband?
She hates his shadow, and small blame to her. I'd as lief see her dead as agree to her wedding with that piece of dirt. Well, forgive me for the inconvenience I've caused you. If you could find it convenient to move out of the inn, I'll be much obliged.
I'll get going in no time, and I'm not going to let the inconvenience worry me a bit. You've a telephone here, I take it?
Yes, near the front door downstairs.
Right. I'll be down in no time and ring the local pub. By the way, is this Malcolm Gregory the local big noise?
Ah, he is. The big noise. Morton Hamley was bought by him and all the lands and farm hereabout. Well, Tilda and I'll stay here a few days just to watch the sale, and then we'll be on our way somewhere else and try and start all over again.
Tilda? You mentioned her?
My daughter.
She brought me breakfast. Heavens, I thought she was a farm servant.
Probably she spoke like one, too. Oh, she's a rare one for joking.
And I told her to go and clean my shoes.
And she's probably done 'em by now.
My hat, I hope not. Well, I'll just finish off here, pack a few traps, and then your telephone, if you please. Yes, hello? Is that you, Barbara? Fine, but don't waste time on my health. I've stumbled on something I'm interested in. No, it's not a blonde. Yes, well, there is a girl connected with it, but she's, milk and roses and chestnut and, huh? Oh, yes, I quite realize that you're not interested. Good. But are you interested in the 40 Thieves still? You are, aren't you? I thought that would rock you. Well, have a look at your list. Is the name Malcolm Gregory on it? It is? Excellent. Tell me more. Oh, an estate agent, eh? Used to be... What? Yes, I've got it. Even sold up your dad's property. Yes. Well, he's here at a place called Morton Hamley. No, for heaven's sake, don't come down here. When I tell you there's a nice, ripe apple on the tree, then you can come down and pluck it. See if you can find Charlie Austin. Tell him to come down. I shall be at the Hunter's Inn, Holt, near King's Lynn. Right. Gregory. Thought I was right.
I'm so sorry. My father tells me you know about our having to ask you to make other arrangements.
That's so, Miss Norman, and I'm going to be a big loser. I shan't have Tilda to bring me my breakfast tomorrow.
Just one of my jokes, Mr. Fletcher. I hope you'll excuse the farmhand act. And now, is there anything you require?
Yes, my shoes. I gave them to that farmhand girl to clean.
Here they be, sir. I hope they're satisfaction for you.
No, I could have done them better myself. Seriously, Miss Norman, this is a bad thing.
It's a hopeless thing, Mr. Fletcher, and there's an end of it.
Now, please don't talk of ends. There's generally a way out of troubles to be found.
There's one way, and it would save father and the farm.
You mean you and Hal Gregory?
Yes.
You don't like the idea?
I loathe the said Hal.
Then, of course, that's the end of it.
Definitely.
Supposing I can find an alternative.
Oh, how can you, a perfect stranger?
Perfect stranger may be to you, but I'm not a stranger altogether to Mr. Malcolm Gregory. Perhaps
Nonsense. Nothing you could do would help in that quarter.
So you think. However, we won't pursue an unpleasant subject. Tell me, he lives alone?
Except when his frightful son comes down. He's generally alone in Morton Hamley, the big house. No servants will stay for long.
Why?
Oh, he just doesn't know how to treat people.
Just an unpleasant character, eh?
Definitely.
In that case, he may be dealt with.
I think not.
Look here, Tilda. The more unpleasant they are, the better I can deal with them.
I hope you'll be wise, Mr. Fletcher, and do nothing, because, well, this is our fight, my father's and mine. We've lost. That's all there is to it.
Nonsense. Believe me, Miss Norman, there's always a way out. I think I said that.
You did?
Well, I meant it. So, nil desperandum. I may shortly have news for you. By the way, Tilda, I notice my brown shoes want cleaning also. Anything doing?
You are a comfort, aren't you, Mr. Fletcher? Oh, yes, sir. The gentleman's shoes were being ready at once.
That's a girl. And a very nice girl. Well, Charlie, I'm glad you could come. I've told you the whole story. In fact, I've told you all I know.
Usual landlord and tenant business, Mr. Hex. Nothing to it.
That's where you're wrong. This man, Malcolm Gregory, is, to my almost certain knowledge, a crook.
Maybe so, but where do we come in?
We've got to find means to provide evidence that he is. There's much more to this than meets the eye. Remember, I told you how he's got his grips onto Norman's farm.
Including the fixtures.
Fixtures?
The dame.
Charlie, she's no dame. She's a very delectable piece of femininity.
So, she's a dame.
Right. Now, you know the marriage angle.
You told me.
Yes, so I did. But before that happens, I promised to take a hand. What I can do, I don't know.
Just being Sir Gailey Lad, it seems.
Sir Gailey? Oh, yes, I've got the idea. Maiden in distress and all that.
And Sir Gailey Lad rescues the damsel. Old stuff, Mr. Hex.
True, but constantly recurring. Now, this is it, Charlie. You and I are going to pay a visit to old man Gregory. And by the means you and I know of, see if we can't find something against him.
Here, that's going on the black.
True, in a way. Because if we do, we'll go for him good and proper, and thus force him to let up on Farmer Norman.
And also the girl Norman. Bless me, Mr. X. I didn't think you'd fall for the piece in nylons and blonde-washed hair.
I'm not falling anywhere, Charlie. Matter of fact, I'm very much interested in Gregory himself. His name happens to be on a certain list, and if I know anything, I shall soon be able to cross him off.
Paid in full, as it were.
Paid in full, Charlie. What the deuce is that?
Church bell, I reckon.
What? At this time of night? Open that window, Charlie. Fire? Good heavens, what a scrimmage. I say, you down there.
Hello, Governor.
What's on?
A fire, that's what's on.
They do ring the church bells in the country for fires, Mr. Hicks.
So they do. Hi, you. Where's the fire?
Down to Norman's farm, so they tells. Reckon they's right, too. Fine blaze, too. Better than I've seen in many a day.
A real blaze, eh?
'Tis that sure. 'Twill be down to ground in a matter of moments. Hey, fine blaze. Naught can save un.
Thank you.
Charlie. Yes, Mr. Hicks.
It has become more necessary than ever that we investigate Mr. Gregory. This fire, my lad, at Norman's farm is no accident. Definitely no accident.
How can Rolland Fletcher surmise as he does concerning the fire at Norman's farm? Listen again to these stories of the modern Robin Hood, the Grey Goose.
I have been here.
The Grey Goose, Adventures of a Modern Robin Hood.
One day of relaxation on a Norfolk farm, and I suddenly find myself plunged into the scene of another landlord versus tenant feud. Norman the farmer is evicted with his very charming daughter Matilda, and so I go to the local inn. It appears Malcolm Gregory is the villain of the piece, for he's the local property owner, and his son, Hal Gregory, has designs upon the charming Matilda, who will have none of him. If ever I saw the ingredients of an old Drury Lane drama, I've got 'em all here. Especially as on the very night of the eviction, Norman's farm catches fire, and thus gives the yokels a very enjoyable and exciting evening. With certain ideas in my mind, I sent for Charlie Austin, especially as I'd learnt from Barbara that Malcolm Gregory is on her list of 40 thieves.
Them old farmhouses burned down in about 3 minutes.
Very true, Charlie, but hardly comforting to the, burnees.
Well, by all reports, there ain't stick nor stone left by now.
That's so. Mr. Norman and his daughter have come to this inn for the night. You'll like her.
Is she a blonde?
No, chestnut.
Oh, I see. Tomato blonde. You falling, maybe?
No, but I'm interested.
Same thing.
Look, Charlie, there's a job of work to be done, and only you and the Grey Goose can do it.
Oh, that's different. Let's have the strength of it.
In brief, this big land noise, Malcolm Gregory of Morton Hamley, the manor house, has foreclosed on Mr. Norman of Norman's farm.
Oh, a tiger, eh?
Yes. He, however, has a son, Hal Gregory, who is apparently making himself objectionable to Miss Matilda Norman.
The, blonde?
The tomato blonde, Charlie.
OK, I stand protected.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, had Tilda...
Short for Matilda. Cripes, you're getting on, Mr. Hex.
Had Miss Matilda listened to Hal's words of honey, roughly speaking, there would have been no financial crisis for Father Norman.
Sounds like East Lynne to me.
I told you it was a bit Drury Lane. However, this man Gregory has bigger scores against him, and that's why I sent for you, to stand by.
Ah, sort of 12th man, eh?
Well, in a way. Now, you and I witnessed tonight the destruction of Norman's farm. How do you view that?
Oh, yes. That's, yeah, that does complicate things, don't it?
Yes. To whose advantage, knowing the circumstances, would it be to have Norman's farm go up in smoke?
Oh, search me.
Mr. Fletcher! Mr. Fletcher!
Come in, come in. Why, it's Miss Matilda. What else can be wrong? You look terribly distressed.
I must see.
Look. Let me get you a drink. There. Now take that, and a few breaths at the same time. Good. Now, what can I do?
The farm burned down.
Yes, I was there at the last. I'm very sorry indeed, but after all, you had been evicted. It was no longer your worry, nor your father's.
That's not altogether right. You see, the local police think Father set fire to it.
What?
Yes, and he's been arrested on suspicion of arson.
Well, that's a complication that never occurred to me. Why do they think your father burned down the farm?
The village folk reckon he did it to spite Gregory.
Was the farm insured?
Of course it was, but not exactly by Father.
Well, how's that?
Father paid for the insurance, but as the property was Gregory's, the benefit, if any, went to Gregory. It's a very usual state of tenancy in these parts.
Very convenient for the landlord, I must say.
Oh, he was more vendor than landlord. We were paying off gradually, principal, interest, and insurance. Mind you, everything was above board. We got behind in our payments, so Gregory had every right to sell us up.
The insurance was paid?
Oh, yes, definitely. That was a protection we were all in favour of. Now, with the foreclosure, of course, we don't get anything. Gregory saves the money, and we've lost the farm.
That's not a very equitable arrangement, I must say.
But it's legal, unfortunately.
Sounds very much like it. Although I reserve the right to say that, in my opinion, Mr. Gregory is a very smart operator, not to say a land shark.
Well, you'll excuse me, please. I'm going down to the local magistrate to endeavour to arrange bail for father.
Well, with his reputation in the neighbourhood, you should find no difficulty. If a few pounds would help...
Thank you, no. I think we can find enough. I'll go now. Goodbye, Mr. Fletcher.
Goodbye.
So that's the tomato blonde. Crikey, eh? A number one. A1 at Lloyd's if ever I saw one.
Yes. It's a darn shame that she should have all this trouble. What do you make of it, Charlie?
Well, there's a fire, of course. Old man Norman wouldn't love old man Gregory, would he?
Definitely not.
And being chucked out of house and home, he just might say to himself, I'll burn the place down, rather than let him have it.
Strangely enough, Charlie, those were the words he did say and was heard to say when the bailiff served notice on him.
Oh, well, that's that.
One says many things in the heat of the moment, Charlie, without meaning them. Norman would not do such a thing. I know him, and I'm certain of it.
OK, that's good enough for me. Well, what do we do? Wring old Gregory's neck, or build a new farm, or both?
We do a little exploring here and there, and maybe pay a surprise call on Gregory. It's just possible we can take a hand, because I feel that things in this neck of the woods aren't all they seem.
Uh-huh. So what do we start on?
Well, we pay our first call on the scene of the fire, well after dark. If there has been no arson, we'll find only ashes and the usual debris. If, however, there has been a deliberate crime, we may find some clue. We'll have to move tonight, because the insurance experts will be down first thing tomorrow, and I'd like to be in first.
My aunt! What was that?
Not the faintest idea. Sounded like a wild animal. But there's no wild animals like that in Norfolk.
Oh, could be a poor beast caught in a trap.
Well, it probably is. You know, I thought I heard something like that last night. The only night I slept at Norman's farm.
Well, I don't reckon I want to hear it too often. Gives me the jitters. Oh, my heavens, there it is again.
It can't be much. Otherwise, we'd hear people stirring in the streets.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody taking no notice.
All right. We'll ask somebody sometime if there's a banshee in the neighbourhood. In the meantime, change into some dark clothes, and in an hour's time, we'll go and explore the ruin.
Right.
My word, it was a proper burnout. Only the old walls left standing.
Yeah. Looks sort of spooky in the moonlight, don't it?
Certainly does. We're going to get in a pretty mess, too, getting in there. But come on.
Yeah, where did the fire start?
Apparently in a cupboard under the stairs, according to someone who saw the first puff of smoke. It definitely came from the very centre of the house.
How old would this place be?
About 300 years if it's a day.
Dry as tinder, too. Ain't seen nothing yet, have you?
No. Not a thing. Now, if I remember rightly, this would be where the stairs were.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's right. Look, the charred handrail.
Better look here for a petrol tin or some such.
Don't be a mug. If this was arson, you wouldn't find a tin of that description.
Crikey, there's that wolf again, or whatever it is. Oh, fair gives me the creeps.
It's much nearer, too. Between us and the village. Now, we'd better lie low for a moment. If someone's playing animals, I'd rather he didn't see us prowling around these ruins.
No encore this time, Mr. Hicks.
Wait a moment longer.
Oh, gone farther away, thank heavens. Oh, gives me goose pimples all over.
Good thing it doesn't give you goose feathers.
Yeah, that's right. You're telling me.
Here, what now?
I think we can scramble round that staircase a bit more. Come on.
Here, what's this?
Shine your torch on it. It's a cartridge from a 12-bore shotgun, I'd say.
Here, there's half a dozen of them. Not even burned out by a fire. They're in a tin box, too.
And that's why they're not charred. Yet they're empty. My head, Charlie. Empty sporting cartridges. And look, the caps haven't been fired.
Farmers don't bring home empty cartridges either, do they? Even when the caps has been fired.
Charlie, have you ever heard of Guy Fawkes?
Of course. Used to have one in our backyard for the kids every 5th of November. But what's that got to do with these here empty cartridges?
Just this, my lad. We've unearthed a new gunpowder plot.
You don't say.
I do. Look, put one of these in your pocket. I'll put one in mine. I'll tell you why later. Got it? Right. Now let's go home.
Oh, crikey! There's that tiger again.
Well, you called it a wolf a short while ago. It is uncanny, though.
Uncanny? Unholy, I calls it.
Bite you with it, Charlie. We're being watched. Look, over toward that old barn. A man it is, too. I can't quite make him out, though, in the moonlight. Cool. Dressed sort of funny, isn't he?
Yes, a bit peculiarly as far as I can make out.
He's coming this way.
Yes, for a moment. Stand by, Charlie. This is the howling joker himself. I'm going to nab him as soon as he gets within arm's length.
I believe he's searching for us.
I rather think you're right. Hold it a moment. Where's he off to now?
Making for the stairs, looks like.
Don't move. My head. The cartridge is in the tin box. It looks as if he's counting them.
Yeah.
He is too. Watch out. I lay a tenner he howls any tick of the clock. What did I tell you, Charlie? All right. Now to nab him. Come on!
It's strong as an elephant.
By Jove, yes. That's got him. Look, old fellow, we mean no harm, and we are very sorry to have been a bit rough, but you're acting very queerly, you know. Now, what's the idea of prowling round this farm and giving tongue to that appalling howl?
Well, just shakes his head. Won't talk, eh? Listen, mister, I can make you talk, I reckon. Hear what I say?
He nodded. Why don't you explain? We won't harm you. Do you understand?
Nodded again.
If we let go of you, will you not run away?
Well, I think he means okay. But why can't he say so? I think I'll still hang on to one of his arms all the same.
Crikey, Mr. X. He's pointing to his mouth.
Good heavens, Charlie. He can't speak. You can't, can you?
Oh, crumbs, here's a nice kettle of fish. He's dumb.
Yes. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Completely dumb.
And now what has Rolland Fletcher stumbled on? Listen further.